How did you find the support you received, and what are your thoughts as a process on a whole?
I started this process. Before we do that, I mean, do you mind if I maybe give some background to the crimes themselves and what this is about?
Absolutely.
Basically, from the age of 8, I was groomed, and I'm sure still by the time I was 8, I was being sexually abused by a scout leader, a person in a position of authority who abused that position and their opportunities. And when I see kind of children of that kind of age now, it just really does kind of bring home what a important point of your development it actually is, and how much of even though in some aspects you might see children use kind of complex language or discuss things that seem of an adult nature, you at the same time recognize that they're very, very much not adults. They're very, very much not fully developed. And so I recognized that things were happening to me from an early age, which was so difficult to comprehend and to evaluate and fit into your kind of lifestyle. So basically, to give a context of why I wanted to see this individual, 4 years of serious sexual abuse from the age of 8 years of age through such an important developmental stage in your life. I just needed to see that person and let them know what they'd done and how much of a legacy I believed that they had had, a negative legacy. 5 or 6 years ago, I made a decision that I wanted a number of things to happen. I wanted to see some kind of judicial justice served. I wanted to deal with my own kind of issues and try and be a stronger, better person. And I kind of guess I'm a strange combination of being both a kind of a positive person but a pessimist at the same time. But when this whole process started, I kind of believed that all of these things could be sorted and dealt with and it would all be very positive. But as soon as the process started, I just found it was not the process I expected it to be. I found out that this individual, I knew that the individual who abused me was charged and went to prison in 1991 for crimes that he committed against children. I had no idea that he had named me in a list of individuals and that all of those names that were taken into consideration, all of the crimes that he admitted to committing had been used in that court process to charge him. And I had never been informed of that. That was one of the first things that happened once this process started, and it just floored me. It completely floored me. And I was just shocked to find that out when I decided this was the moment I was going to make like my stand. I was going to do something about what happened to me. To find out that this had actually been dealt with in the eyes of the law and you weren't even informed was quite a shock, and it was really difficult for me to deal with. An interesting thing, I guess, for me is that before I even knew there was such a thing as restorative justice, I'd always had a sense, before I even kind of went to the police eventually, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I'd always had a sense that I wanted to meet the individual who committed crimes against me. And that had always kind of existed, that I just wanted that opportunity to sort of speak to them and get an idea of their motivations, what was going on in their mind, and maybe just confront this individual. So there was a sense of wanting that, but without knowing that there was such a thing as restorative justice. There's something in the background, there's something underlying which it is an issue at there's a certain pain there that I want to try and get rid of, to sort out, to fix. And I suppose this process was, I was hoping that could help. I didn't know, I recognized that there were potential risks. I think I'd always felt maybe that he still had some control over me, which I wanted to address. I mean, maybe that was one of the reasons why I kind of had this feeling that I wanted to meet. It's strange, on the day itself, in this very room, or in the room upstairs waiting to come to this room, I never expected the level of doubt and anxiety and concern that I had before the meeting was about to happen. I'd felt pretty much okay up until maybe an hour before, or when I was actually here. But the level of stress and the level of anxiety was way, way beyond what I expected. And I was very, very close to saying, look, I'm just not going to do it. But when I walked through the door, that very door just over there, and saw the individual, things changed in an instant. It was quite strange. I just felt a sense that that person in front of me was just a human, just another human being, an overweight individual getting to older age. They were just normal. And it was actually kind of a relief, I think, to see that person as just a person. There was something about that moment. It was very stressful beforehand, but as soon as I saw them, that stress to some extent was resolved, and I recognized that this person doesn't have to have control over me. They don't have to dominate aspects of my life. And I think that was probably the biggest thing for me, just recognizing this was a person, and I could be myself around them if I chose to. In essence, it was a very useful experience. There was something pre-seeing this individual and something post-seeing this individual, and the post-seeing this individual was better. I could put them where they needed to be, as just a flawed human being who made bad choices, chose to exploit those around them, and I could see them for what they were. I'm still the same person. I suddenly don't feel completely normal and content and happy with who I am, but it helped me. I just know it was the right thing to do. And I think it's given me the scope to maybe try and implement changes, or give myself more credit maybe. The process that you enabled for me to get to that point where we could safely meet and get something positive from it was just really important. And it really helped me. Of all of the processes through that period of trying to deal with what happened, I don't know, it's almost like someone's paying me to say these things, but this was the most positive experience that I had.